This is crazy.
Hey guys, my name's Gavin and welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make beats for Ty Fontaine that someone like RIO LEYVA, someone of that kind of category would make. So yeah, follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Join my Discord server that I just made. There's going to be a link down in the description for the video. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I started this beat inside of FL Keys, just trying to lay down a simple chord progression and this a little top melody, but nothing too complicated. I use FL Keys just because it's like a good bass sound to kind of build off of, and like you're able to just hear, I don't know, it's just FL Keys, it's easy. So yeah, we started by building this kind of progression. Basically, I just duplicated this chord right here over. I brought down this bottom note, down one. You can do this in all different sorts of melodies. It gives it a really cool kind of chord progression. And then I just used this A here, which is just this bottom note. I just put it up an octave. And now I have a G minor or G sharp minor chord right here. And then I duplicate the same chord. And then I add a D sharp too on it. And yeah, so that just duplicates over twice. And now I have this really simple top melody that just goes like this, and hopefully you can see me fine. I know it casts a shadow in front of me, but it should be good. So just A sharps. I just tried to find a note that sounded good, and I'm trying to establish some sort of a rhythm, because in virtual beats like this, it's really important to have that rhythm. I talked about it in previous tutorials that I made on virtual beats, so if you haven't checked those out, they're kind of recent, so you can just go on my feed and you can see them. But it's really important to have that rhythm. So here are these notes, and I just go down the scale, and I go back up, and then down, and then up. So it resembles a wave, as I say in all of my videos. So yeah, this is what it sounds like. I just copied the bass notes down here. This bass note, if you explain it in music theory kind of terms, it's actually a D sharp major chord with the top note here, the fifth in the bass. So the root note's still going to be D sharp. So that's just a different way of explaining it. So yeah, after that I hopped inside of Contact, I believe, and put the progressions in there, and I have two different sections. So this is the first section right here, and then the second section. So it's an 18 bar loop or a 16 bar loop, whatever. So for the first part, I did Shift D on my keyboard to make all of these notes stabs, and then I did Alt R too to randomize them. And then for the second half, I just left them how it was, or how they were. So yeah, this is what it sounds like. I'm using the analog, I'm using Retro Machines from Contact Bank, and yeah, it gives it a cool kind of sound. I really like that sound. I shouldn't have deleted that. That was dumb. Okay, so that's fine. We don't need it anymore. But so then I just rendered out both of those to audio files. So this is the audio file of the chord progression without it being it's chopped up or whatever, shortened, and this is the shortened version right here. So after that, I'm gonna go in here. I'll mute all these so you can't hear the rest. So then I went into Omnisphere, copied that progression over again. Just pick like a pad kind of sound, and then I put a gross beat on it, and then I use the Transgate 1. If you're going for that virtual like gated bounce kind of thing, I highly recommend that you use the Transgate from Omnisphere to do that. So yeah, it really gives it a cool kind of feel. And yeah, that's all I did. That's what it sounds like. Now the last sound I used was this counter melody. It's pretty complex, all over the place, as Rio and a bunch of other people that make these kind of beats like to do. So I started by just going down the scale. Actually, I started with this note right here, but then as I went back up, transitioning, like going up the scale again here, I thought it sounded better if it leads right back into this note as opposed to this note. So that's why I ended up changing my way of putting in the notes. So that kind of is hard to explain, but I try to make sure my melodies loop right. I feel like that's one of the most important parts when you make them, and if you can get them to loop right, they sound more complete. So that's why I did that. That's why I changed them up. So yeah, down the scale, just doing like little riffs on the MIDI keyboard and kind of like all over the place, like spacey kind of stuff. Like again, no music theory. This is just all my ear. and trying to figure out stuff that sounds good to me and making it unique. That's like the most important part. So after I had all of this, I did Alt R again. And then there's one interesting part here. This note actually isn't in the scale. It's not the leading tone either. It's just a note that was out of the scale. I forget what it's called exactly, but I like the way it sounded, and I think it did a cool, like, unique way of, or did a really good job of, like, transitioning to this note, as opposed to just having this note here. It spices it up, I feel like, if you have that there. It really catches the listener off guard, too, in my opinion, because, again, it's not in the scale, but it doesn't sound wrong. So, yeah. That's basically it. Alright, so after that, you just heard it there a little bit. I have a vocal that I played, or that I did myself. I just routed, I got my voice in there, and then I put Graylian 2. It's a free auto-tune plugin, and I tuned it to whatever the scale was. It is, it was C minor. So I tuned it to C minor, hummed a bunch of random stuff into the microphone, came up with something that sounded like this after I put effects on. So I'll show you the effects I put on. A bunch of stuff here. I put ozonate elements and just widened the sound. An EQ to get rid of some of the high and low frequencies to make it sound more underwater and kind of tucked. And then reverb to really widen it out and give it like a vocal chop, ambiance. And then little altar boy, I put the pitch all the way up and the format all the way up to 12, which is like a whole octave, and I blended it back right here to blend the original sound in with that higher sound. So yeah, that's about all I did. I turned it down because it was way too loud, and this is what all the melody sounds like. So this part is actually not pitched down at all. This is just like the raw kind of clip with those effects on it, not pitched up at all. So yeah, after that I just put in a clap, some pretty basic hi-hats. I just wanted to make some sort of rhythm to them, nothing too complex though. So we have just a little roll right here. And yeah, it's just really simple bouncy stuff. I wasn't trying to go too complex, change up the rhythm too much. So yeah, it's basically just a two-step pattern with a little bit extra going on. So after that, I moved into the 808, and what I did on my 808 here, which is something that I've seen a lot, is like boosting it, not clipping it, just boosting it if you're in FL20 right here. And it gives it kind of like a more full feeling. So yeah, that's what it sounds like. And I added a roll here because that's like a classic staple of virtual beats almost. I feel like all of them have some sort of roll inside of the 808 pattern. So yeah, that's really not hard to do at all. I just made sure my grid was set to something that I liked it at, and just chopped up a little area. It's like a little out of time. It doesn't really matter at all. And I feel like that's something that like you can do in your beats. Put some of the drums a little bit out of time to give them a more like realistic, like played out feel. Because we're always just clicking in notes, so that, I don't know, it's a good contrast. And the light, the sun came out as I'm recording this. I don't know if that's going to screw up my lighting. I sure hope it doesn't. I look pale as a ghost, so I'm going to have to fix that. But yeah, it's basically the 808 pattern. And now a kick pattern. I wanted to keep a really simple kick pattern. It only really plays where the 808 plays. So we have one right here at the beginning. No 808 right here, just to give it a little bit more bounce though, and like trying to counter the 808 a little bit, something that they do in a lot of virtual songs. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So there's that, and then I did this in the last tutorial. I put the kick on the clap, which is like generally a no-no. But when you're making these kind of beats, I think it's really important to experiment and try stuff, because there's really no rules to music. So like try new things, experiment with different things. I personally, for whatever reason, like the way that sounds in a way, so that's why I did it. And yeah, so that's basically the kick pattern. It just loops for all of that, and then all I did after that was add an open hat right here on the one, like right away. And I mixed it. I just put a soft clipper on the master. Sometimes when I make my beats, I end up compressing them a little bit, but I felt like this one was already not in need of any compressing, so I didn't end up doing it. Just a saw clipper on the generic settings, just to make sure that stuff doesn't go above 0 decibels. And yeah, that's basically it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you were able to learn something from it. Oh yeah, I haven't talked about, so for this main melody here, like the stabs and then like the long chord progressions, I just put cassette on it. The Bayside preset I use a lot. I turn the static all the way down and the stability all the way up, and that's now about all I did. I put a little alter boy on the counter melody too, and then a little bit of reverb to give it a more wider feel. So yeah, that's about it for the tutorial. Hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to like the video. Let's get it to like 25 likes. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're quickly approaching 1,000. So let's try to hit that sometime soon. So yeah, join my Discord again, as I said at the beginning of the video. I'm gonna try to be in there a lot, doing stuff with you guys, and that's about it. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Continue to make beats during this time, and yeah, my name's Gavin, and I'll see you in the next one.